Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany
and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows
like Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill, and more. Hi everyone, I'm Brittany.
And I'm Cynthia.
And today we're talking about Season 1, Episode 2. By the way, it's very weird to go back to Season 1.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. To actually say.
Yeah.
Titled The Places You Have Come to Fear the Most. Air date September 30th, 2003. And the synopsis is...
Lucas plays his first game as a Tree Hill Raven and jokes. He isn't the only one confronting insecurities. Peyton can't find the courage to submit her drawings for publication.
I love how it starts with Lucas's friends helping him practice.
Yeah, well, they push him to go to the game because he doesn't.
Well, I know, but skills is like, no, shoot again, like, you know, and it's just so cute.
Right.
And it's cute also to see guys doing that because girls would, but to actually see guys doing that, I love watching that.
Yeah, and I want to go to a tree.
I know, it was so cute. We're all going. Lucas is like, you don't have to.
Right.
It's your first game. Like, we've been helping you. Like, we're going. And I'm like, oh my God, I just love them.
Yeah.
So, A+ to his friends. Well, they're just so supportive and cute. I love it.
Yeah. And then in the podcast of Drama Queen, Sophia had mentioned that she did the math and they had spent 35,000 hours filming the whole series from start to finish. Can you believe that?
Well, 9 years.
I know, but it's just, you know, it laid out like that somehow. And then at Karen's cafe, Keith asks Karen if she's ready to leave for Lucas's game. But of course...
Oh my God, I cannot. Cynthia?
I know, I was mad at her.
I can't with this. She bugged me in the last episode. Like, I love Karen, but I don't love her, the storyline.
Right.
I don't care what the hell happened 20 years ago, okay? This is your son, your only child. You only have one kid, and you're going to screw up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you got another one to, you know, mess up. Like, I just can't, like, whatever happened between you and Dan, give it a rest. And what's also annoying is it's all coming out now. Like, it hasn't come out all... Nathan and Lucas are in the same grade. You mean to tell me all the times whatever school function happened, you didn't run into Dan Scott?
Right.
It's very hard to think that, because we went to school, we saw people we either liked or didn't like, because that's just what happens when you're in school. Your parents run into your, you know, the classmates' parents. I mean, that's a part of school. That's a part of your kids going to school. So how... So what you're saying then is Karen never went to anything.
Well, they just mentioned the Little League.
I know, but I'm saying school-wise.
Yeah, well...
Because it's very hard for me to believe that she is just in her tiny little corner and doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
Like, we get it. Dan Scott is powerful. He's in this town, blah, blah, blah. But you mean to tell me you don't go anywhere?
Right, I guess you just sit at the cafe.
Cynthia. And again, you're not a part of Lucas's school life? Then you're not that good of a mom then. You know what I mean? Like, that she... It's one thing if you're busy and you have work and stuff. I get that. But to actually just not go because of Dan Scott?
Right.
And also, too, it's bothering me, again, because it's been how many years? They're 16, 17, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's taken you this long to rehash, like, this old news.
Right.
You've had that much time to process it, okay? I'm not saying get over it. I'm just saying process it and put your child first.
Right, yeah.
That's my point. Is that they didn't just move to the town just yesterday where, oh my God, now I have to see him. I'm reliving everything. That's one thing. But she's been in the same town as him
The whole time.
for all this time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they just moved here.
Right.
So once again, why is she just now bringing this up?
Mm-hmm.
Why is she just now having these feelings?
Right.
I don't understand it
Mm-hmm.
at all. Cynthia, make it make sense, please.
I don't know. I guess she just was trying to hold it off as long as possible. Didn't want to deal with it until she was forced to. So.
You're also hanging around his brother.
Right. Well, Keith doesn't really seem to be close to Dan. So.
But still, you're hanging around his family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, just if you want to get away from Dan Scott, get away from everyone. Then get away from the town. Get away from his brother. Like, it just annoys me that it's brought up now.
Right.
And I get for the show purpose why, because if this has all been resolved 17 years ago or 15 or 10, we wouldn't be talking about it and all the drama. But they should have then made somebody move to town, whether it was Dan or Karen. You know what I mean? Yeah. To make it make sense, because the storyline just doesn't make sense of why she's been holding on to this for so long.
Right.
And also, why would you want Dan in your child's life? Like, look what he's doing to Nathan. Do you really want that for your own son? I would be like, I am so happy you're not a part of it. And plus, Dan, would you want him controlling you? No. And be like, now listen, we're not together, but you're doing a messed up job with our son. You know, I wouldn't want that. I'd be like, I'm so happy I get to parent all on my own. I just don't get it. Like, why is she holding it? It's like, do you love him or something? That would be like the only reason why you would be still holding on to this.
Right. Yeah, because Keith, tries to convince her to go, but she says she needs business. And then, Haley wants to go and she's kind of tired of them going back and forth about it, so she just blurts out that she doesn't want to see her high school sweetheart / your brother Dan / the jerk of Ben and Lucas / the father Nathan and team star player. And then she says / my wrist also, which I didn't want to hear that, but and then walks out. And Keith does talk here and that she's making a mistake and not going, right? Because she does regret it,
I don't care. What she is doing right now makes me not like her. Because, again, like we said last episode, put your child first. I don't care what happened. Like, get over it. Again, it wasn't recent. You didn't just run into him recently. Like, you've been in the same town. If it's that much trauma, you should have left.
Right.
If it's bothering you that much, where you can't even, if you see Dan sitting there, go sit somewhere else. Nobody is forcing you to sit with him. This is what I don't get. It's a whole gym full of people. You're not sitting with them. Why can't you go?
Right.
And sit somewhere else where you can't see him? Because when you're in the stands, and if you're sitting far away from someone, you're not going to see them. You're only going to see the people around you. And if you're busy watching the game, you're not watching him. Right. Watch your son, Karen, before you lose him.
And then Dan's just trying to, still try to get Lucas off the team, so he tells Nathan to kind of just shut him out.
At practice. When Whitey says Scott, and then they both look. Okay, he knows there's two Scotts. Why wouldn't he just say their name?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm like Whitey.
He does that.
It's no longer just Nathan.
Right.
There's two. You know that.
Yeah.
Why do you keep saying Scott? And then they both look. He did it in the library.
Yeah.
You would think that would have been the one thing that would have been like, oh, I can't say that anymore because they both look. So
Right.
And I'm sure at practice he's done it more than once when he's yelling at them. So it's kind of like, it's just bothering me still. Like, say their name. We all get it. The audience gets it. They have the same last name. So, it's just like, say their name, please. But I just don't get why the coach wouldn't um, just use their first names.
Right. Yeah.
And also, like, I get like a teacher if like the teacher always uses the last name, like Mr. Feeney would on Boy Meets World. But I just don't feel like, again, if you have two Scotts, just use your freaking first name.
I can't even remember if he ever like was in the same room with Corey and Eric and had the same situation. I don't think he did that because I feel like he would have.
They were way older.
Yeah.
I mean, age-wise, there was a big gap.
Yeah, so like in any place in general, I don't think he.
College, I guess. I don't know if they were in the same class, but.
Yeah, because I don't think he ever called him by their first name, so I don't think he ever ran into that problem. But yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just like, because he'd always use their last names, and it's like, okay. I mean, I still feel like using somebody's first name is, a lot of times it's shorter. So, well, Mr. Matthews instead of just Corey.
Right.
So much shorter. But again, Whitey, just say the first name. Oh, but it was funny when Lucas is standing there with Mouth and Jimmy, and Jimmy's got the www. What was it? Hoops.
Ravenhoops.com, yeah.
And then Whitey comes on and was like, "What's this?" Then he said, no media. And Jimmy's all like, "Oh my God, we're media."
Band media, yeah, that was funny.
But I just was cracking up. I will say, Whitey, it's like every time he says something, he just always makes me laugh.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I want him on screen just because I want to know what he's going to say that's going to make me laugh. Because every scene he's in just cracks me up, the stuff he says.
Yeah, and then we see the guys walk out, Nathan and Lucas last, and we can see both of the back of their jerseys with the name Scott on them.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah. And then when they were in the stands, Dan finds Keith and says, "Oh, you
finally came to watch your nephew play."
Yeah. So Dan.
What did you think of that?
Like
patting him on the shoulder. Came to finally watch your nephew play. Right. Screw you, Dan.
Yeah. So Keith says, "Yeah, you can say that." Exactly, he is. So, but just not the nephew. Dan thinks of. So.
Oh, and come on now, Dan really thinks he's watching Nathan.
Right.
Like.
I think it was like, oh, so you came to see like a star player kind of thing.
Yeah, I know, but come on now. You know damn well he came to watch Lucas. There was this thing on Facebook, Cynthia.
Yeah.
That was like, oh, you could kind of blame Keith not being in Nathan's life like you can with Dan being in Lucas's. And I was like, those are two different things. Dan is the father to Lucas, people.
Yeah.
For that Facebook post. I'm just saying that it's totally different to just be the uncle.
Right.
Because the uncle, you can be the fun uncle or... like, he didn't have to be there in Lucas's life. He just was and wanted to.
Yeah, for sure.
But if he was in Nathan's life, that means he'd have to be around Dan, which Keith, I don't think, wants to do.
Yeah, nobody does. Nathan doesn't. Deb doesn't because she's always gone.
Whitey's like, just go away, disappear. But I'm just like, it's totally different for the father to not be in the child's life, people. Yeah. Well, because it was a debate. And I don't think it was very accurate. I mean, what do you think of it?
No, I agree. Yeah. Not the same.
Yeah, because I'm like, a father and an uncle. Let's see here.
Yeah, so technically Keith didn't abandon anybody, you know?
No, and again, if Dan was not the father, like, or if he was a decent person, Keith would be around Nathan.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to see Dan.
And then Dan even yells, son.
Oh my. Cynthia.
So Lucas looks at him.
Cynthia. I can't. Why does he do this?
Yeah, and Dan looks at him and I was like, he looks at me and he looks at him.
But why?
Just to mess him up with the game,
I'm
throw him off.
I'm just like the nerve to say son. And okay, but here's my thing, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Okay, as bad as it is that he's doing it, Lucas, have a brain. Because here's my thing. Why would you turn around when Dan says son?
Yeah.
You know damn well he is not talking about you or looking at you. Right. He's looking at Nathan. And so he's never called you son.
Right.
You've never called him father or dad. So why would you turn around? Right. Now, if Keith would have said nephew, it would have been weird if Nathan turned around.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense that you would turn around. It's one thing if you had bonded in the past with Dan.
Yeah.
And then he said son, and then you turned around. But you've never talked to him really ever a day in your life. So why would you turn around when he says son? That writing to me was, when you actually think about it, you're just like, why would Lucas turn around?
Right.
Like, at first, it's cringy because he says it and then they look, but it's like, why would Lucas turn around though? I don't get it.
Right.
And it's not like he yelled Scott. He said son.
Yeah.
So again, he's not even saying your last name where you would turn around.
Right.
He's using son, which again, he ain't talking to you.
Right.
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he was talking to Lucas, he would have said, hey, kid, or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think he would have really used the word son.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't look at Lucas as a son. But why did Lucas turn around?
I don't know.
Can you answer that for me?
No, because the girls didn't mention it, so I don't know.
Oh, you're only going to go off what the girls said?
Well, I'm just saying they didn't mention. It seems like when they have a guest, they talk less about the actual episode and talk about more. I was like filming the episode, but it did throw him off because Nathan had thrown the ball to kind of get him out of it. Before Dan put him in and just calling him son. So
yeah, he wasn't talking to you.
Yeah,
I'm like, Nathan, zip it. I'm like, leave Lucas alone. Yeah. It's his first game. Shut up.
Yeah.
But I just don't get it. But did it irritate you that Lucas even bothered to turn around?
Yeah, I did.
Because I'm just like, I think that would have bothered, because I know Dan also was probably doing it as a dig. So I think that would have pushed him, was ignore him. You know what I mean? If he says son, I'm not going to turn around. Right. Because Dan is trying to get a reaction, and he got one. Yeah. So don't let him. Right. So stick to the game, stick to what you know, and don't give him that extra look. Yeah. Because that's what he wants.
Yeah, Lucas should just focus on Karen, Keith, and Haley in the crowd. Yeah.
Well, and his friends who are.
Yeah.
I don't know where they are.
Yeah,
I don't know where they said they were going.
Yeah. But they never show them.
Yeah. But it's like, focus on that in the game. And less on Dan.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The person that you should really focus the least on is the person that's not even around in your life.
And then we finally get to see Brooke now, introduced into the show. She's on a sideline with Peyton, cheerleaders. And right away, Brooke likes Lucas, oh, that's the boy who beat up Nathan. And then she said that he looks good from behind. And then the next quarter starts, everyone's cheering. Lucas misses catching the ball and almost hits Peyton. She tells him, nice hands. And
nice legs.
Yeah. And then Dan just keeps looking at Lucas, giving him looks. The other team is winning. And Nathan's yelling at Lucas. Lucas misses another basket. And, 2 baskets. And then Dan smiles, to see him fail. And then Lucas misses a third attempt. And then Nathan gets the ball and makes a basket.
You know, though, think about in town.
Yeah.
You know how Dan thinks he's like this great person on earth,
Mm-hmm.
like he's God or something,
Yeah.
which is a total joke. But think about like in a town, like our town or something. If there was a Dan Scott, thank God there's not, that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Um, if he was in town, in our town,
Mm-hmm.
and he abandoned his child, I don't think the town would rally around Dan. I think if they went to a game and saw him smirking because the child he abandoned was missing every basket and stuff, I don't think the town would react greatly to him.
Right.
And how he's treating Lucas, I don't think the town would react greatly to him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just kind of hard to believe because I'd be like, what an ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're treating your son poorly and you think you're this great person on earth and you're not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard to believe,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, like I could see Dan, making up rumors about Karen and, make him look better. Like saying that maybe she got pregnant to trap him so he wouldn't go to college or something like that.
But no matter what, that's still your kid.
Yeah.
No matter what she did or didn't do, it's still your child that
Right.
you abandoned. No one forced you to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
That was on you.
Yeah.
So again, whatever came out of that,
Mm-hmm.
which is your child
Mm-hmm.
that you left, that's on you. So whatever choice you make from there, that's on you.
Yeah.
Again, you weren't 15 or 16. You were literally going off to college,
Yeah,
which at that point,
basically.
when you graduate,
An adult.
you're an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever choice you make, that is the choice you have to live with.
Right.
And the fact that, again, it wasn't like he was, at the beginning of high school
Mm-hmm.
where, it would have maybe been a little different. If he would have abandoned his son, it still would have been bad.
Mm-hmm.
But at least he would have had a teenage mindset.
Yeah.
But when you are off to college, you're growing. Because a lot of people, they're like, okay, I'll start over in college.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to be your legacy is
Right.
from there on.
Yeah.
And that's the choice you made was to abandon your son.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's not like it happened when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the choice you made. So you got to deal with it.
Right. And then we finally get to the iconic theme song, I Don't Want to Be by Gavin DeGraw. And Joy had said that Gavin's song Belief was also playing at the end of the episode.
What did you say?
His song Belief.
Who?
Gavin?
No, who? Who said this?
Joy. She said that another song of his.
Joy?
Yeah.
They said Joey.
No.
I was like,
Joy.
who?
Yeah, she said that was playing at the end of the episode, and she also toured with him and Michael Branch. And there was one time I thought it was funny, a story when she's telling about how she saw a concert with Gavin and Billy Joel, and Gavin was singing the One Tree Hill theme song. So she ran out towards the stage, and she didn't know if she was going to be able to do it or if she's going to, get stopped by security or not. But things worked out, so she sang a song along with him on stage. I thought it was funny how she just took that chance, because usually, sometimes at least, the security guards are really on it when people get to the stage or on the stage.
Well, and a lot of times actors don't want to hear their own theme songs.
Right, yeah.
They turn away.
Yeah, I think it's a good song, I don't mind watching it every episode, I don't skip it.
Did you see the Dawson's Creek one at their reunion when they were trying to figure out the theme song?
No.
It's really funny. I'm like, you people don't even know your theme song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I did recently see a TikTok of Gavin singing a song at a concert, I don't know where or whatever, but there was only like one or two people that are actually into it and singing along. Because it's just something no one else even knew it. So that was surprising.
Well, I mean, I didn't really know it until One Tree Hill. Well, I didn't listen to really Gavin DeGraw, okay?
Yeah. I knew the song, but like not that well.
I didn't.
And then after the theme song, we get back to seeing Peyton and Nathan making out in the car.
And all he can do is laugh. Now, at first, did you know what he was laughing at?
Oh yeah, because
Because all they're doing is making out.
Yeah.
And then he just starts laughing, and it's like, what are you laughing at?
Yeah, no,
Are you laughing at her kissing? At first I was like, what? I was so confused. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he goes, I mean, he's on the team, blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
yeah, just how bad he was playing.
I'm just like, that's what you're laughing at?
Yeah,
It was weird.
Yeah, that's on his mind right now.
Well, I know, because at first I was like, are you laughing at the kissing? That was like,
yeah.
It was just really weird and awkward.
Yeah, and then Hillary had brought up that scene that they were filming. He was 17, she was 21 at the time, so she felt like really weird about it because he was underage. I would be too, but she said that afterward James had called it Sorg, gross backwards, so it just like proved how much of an age gap that there was with him at the time. That was funny. I wasn't expecting that. But he was the youngest in the cast, so. Yeah, but then Peyton and him get into a fight, Nathan's like, don't you think I ever want to talk? And, you know, he wants to celebrate, Peyton says that no, he doesn't. He wants to celebrate public humiliation of Lucas, and it's a little played out. And Nathan adds that being with her isn't, and she just gets her things and gets out of the car.
I love that Peyton has a different mindset than a lot of popular people in school.
Yeah.
A lot of popular kids like to watch, they're like Nathan, they like to watch somebody struggle and watch somebody just have that humiliation. And I love that she's kind of grow up.
Right.
It's not funny. And I just love that about her. She's popular, but she doesn't agree.
Right.
And, in schools, that's what you need is somebody that, like Peyton, that doesn't find that stuff funny. But she's also popular. And, again, could show, if she got the courage, she could show her friends that's not funny and that's not the way to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? She just has to get the courage to kind of push him and, push anyone that's popular.
Yeah, so of course Nathan always says he's joking about this and that, and Nathan ends up, throwing Peyton's stuff out the window.
Oh, and her lame music.
Yeah.
I'm like, you and the lame music.
But that was funny how she was like, that was hard to find as an import, even though he can't even hear her. But he took off.
And I was like, why are you yelling? He's way gone. And again, even if he was there, he wouldn't be listening to you.
Right. And then Keith gets to the cafe, and Karen asks if Lucas is okay, and he doesn't know because he didn't see him after the game. Apparently, he's saying he should have been there, and then Karen, starts up stuff saying that he shouldn't have gone to Whitey. He didn't get him on the team in the first place.
Oh, when Nathan was mouthing off to Lucas, at the game.
Yeah.
Did you hear him though? He said, "Start taking notes, punk."
Right.
I was like, "Oh my god!" And then he's such a a little Dan, but but Karen, she said that this place knows too much. This is what I'm saying. Again, if it knows too much, and it was all in high school, you should have moved.
Right.
If Dan was going to stay, you should have moved. This is what I don't get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She could have opened up a cafe anywhere.
Right.
I don't get why she stayed. And it doesn't even seem like she has family around, so why is she there?
I can only think of Keith because he helped her after Lucas was born.
Okay, but he could move too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He could have he could have his own shop too anywhere. Again, it's not like you have to stay in Tree Hill.
Yeah, because it seems like Karen's parents are, I don't think ever mentioned in the show.
Nope, I never heard a word of them.
I guess it seems like they may have kind of what's the word? When someone disowned it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they like disowned her for getting pregnant that young, maybe.
Well, then that'd be a great thing to leave.
Yeah, so.
Well, it's like Gilmore Girls. Lorelai left and went far, far away.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if she would have stayed, it would have been bad. It would have been this.
Yeah.
But she got out and got away and broke free.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, why Karen should have done that too.
Yeah, exactly.
And Keith, you know, as a friend and also getting out of town, it would have been good for the two of them. But it just bothered me because I'm just like, if it knows too much, this town and this place and all of this, then get away. I don't get it. Because again, and she started the cafe, or it's her own cafe. So it's like, also, how did she get the cafe?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know? And again, you could have opened a cafe anywhere.
Yeah. Maybe, like I said, her background isn't really mentioned in the show. It should have been, but maybe like.
Well, especially given that her son is the center character.
Yeah.
And the star character,
Mm-hmm.
you would think that there'd be background on her.
Right. Yeah, so maybe like.
And also, this whole storyline revolves around Dan and Karen too.
Right.
So you would think that there would be background on her.
I would say, maybe when she knew she was pregnant or after she had Lucas, she started working at that cafe, you know, to make money, and then maybe she got close with the owner, and the owner like sold her the cafe afterward, you know, and she turned into her own thing. Maybe that's probably how it happened. So maybe that's what made her want to stay, because she had like that one good thing that she didn't want to leave behind. Maybe.
Again, your mental health and your son.
Mm-hmm.
That's more important.
Right. Yeah.
You know, than your cafe.
Right.
But that's what bothered me again was she just it's like shut up like in this episode every time I'm just like shut up Karen. I don't want to hear it, and Lucas doesn't deserve to hear it. Like, or he doesn't need to hear it because I'm just like he deserves more than this. Like he's already got Dan as his biological father, and he's got you who's not even supportive.
Right.
Like his life is great, isn't it? And that's the thing is you would think because you gave him, let's be honest, you gave him a terrible father or biological father, DNA, that you would go extra hard because he has no dad to be the best that you could be. And this is the best?
Right.
Someone who's not supportive? Okay.
Right.
Let's go with that.
And then Peyton seems to start caring about Lucas because she checked on him at the river court after the game.
Why is she so invested in Lucas?
She's probably starting to like him, that's why.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And do you think also, I don't know, because it's kind of like, you know, it's like Nathan hates him so much. You know?
That she's doing it to get back at Nathan?
Maybe a piece. I don't think it's the whole thing because I do think she's starting to like him. But, well, because again, they've been in school since they were little.
Yeah.
And they're just now talking. You know? And again, she's only talking to him because he's on the team. You know?
Yeah.
It's again a little annoying that she couldn't talk to him any other time.
Yeah, and then Dan's watching the video of the game that he recorded, I guess.
Okay, and why is he so focused on Lucas?
I don't know.
Because then all of a sudden he moves on to Nathan, and I'm like, but I wondered if he moved on to Nathan because he heard like maybe the door open, so he's like, oh, Nathan's coming, I can't be watching Lucas.
Right.
I did wonder that because he was focused a lot on Lucas in that video.
Yeah.
And then he moved on to Nathan, and then Nathan comes and he goes, what did you do wrong here? I'm like, oh my God, he just walked in the door.
Yeah, Nathan explained that he was double teamed, so he had no choice.
Yeah, and then he said, well, I got 28 points, and Dan said 30 would look better for the Scouts. I'm like,
I know.
But was the Scouts even there?
Right. Yeah, so, Nathan says to Dan, he wonders why Mom extends, her business trips. And then Lucas pulls up in front of Payne's house because he gave her a ride from the river court. And, they talk about the game, and it says that, he loves it, and Payne says the same reason she cheers. It's just like all a big game. And then, Lucas wants to get his team because he just wants to know if he's good or not.
The only thing I didn't really like about Peyton in this was that she was kind of disregarding what Lucas was playing for.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lucas does, I do believe he does want to play to see if he's good, and he generally loves basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if you love something, you should do it.
Right.
So it bothered me because I'm like, I get it, you hate cheer.
Mm-hmm.
Then stop.
Yeah.
Like, it's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
But for Lucas, he loves basketball. So shut up, Peyton, and let him finally play basketball.
Yeah.
And again, like, also to not hide from Dan. Like, I'm good too.
Yeah.
And I should be able to play. And he should.
Yeah. And then I really didn't like when Peyton had asked Lucas if he wanted to go inside her house.
I know.
And then,
it was an eye roll for me.
Yeah, he's like, what about Nathan? And she's like, what about him? And he ends up following her, and then she's shocked that he's right behind her.
Yeah, she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, you invited me in.
Yeah. And then she just said, no, I just want to see if you wanted to. I didn't invite you. So I was like, that is so mean. I didn't like her. And
I didn't like her. He said I didn't like her.
She closed the door on him and turned
off
the
light.
Yeah. So I'm like, dang, Peyton.
What did you say?
I said, dang, Peyton.
Oh, I think the dang, bitch.
No, you would say that word a lot. I don't. And then Lucas gets home. He says he looked for Karen at the game. She says she was busy at the cafe. And then she apologizes for not going. And she's sorry she missed it. And he says, yeah,
no, she's not.
Too. Right.
She's sorry she missed it. Right. Sorry, but if you were sorry, you would have been there.
Yeah, because, like, again, even though we didn't see them, all his friends, like, Keys, Haley, his friends from the court were all there, but not her.
Mm-hmm.
And she should have been, like, the first person to want to go and be there and, sit, I guess, at the, I don't know if the best seat in the bleachers would be for a basketball game, but I don't know, like, maybe the front row at the bottom to see him, I don't know.
Yeah, she could run out as fast as she could.
Yeah.
Or at the top.
Mm-hmm.
In the hidden corner.
Right. And then Payne's on her webcam and the phone rings. It was Nathan. And the phone rings again.
I will say, though, it does bother me that a teenager has a webcam.
Right.
I mean, does her parents...
Her dad?
No. We don't know that, Cynthia.
But we've seen the show.
Shut up. We don't... Yeah, but we're not there.
I know, but we can mention it.
No. We can't. We're going to episode... I don't care what the girls did. This is not their podcast. I'm just... you know how much for Dawson's Creek I had to hold it in because I knew what was happening and you didn't?
Yeah, but
and
now
so,
I do, so you don't have to worry about spoilers for me.
I know, but we're going episode by episode. Okay. This is why you have to see their growth in them. Mm-hmm. And we can only talk about right now. We can't talk about 5 years later. So we just go episode by episode.
Okay. Very picky.
Huh?
You're very picky about this.
I'm just saying, we're watching episode by episode.
I just mentioned she had a dad. I didn't see anything else.
Yeah, no, but you looked at me because you said basically only dad.
Yeah, because, she hasn't mentioned her parents, so.
No, but I just don't get why anyone in her family, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Would allow this. Mm-hmm. Whether she, has a dad, mom, whoever. Oh, it just bothered me.
And then Hillary says that she didn't do the artwork for the show. Helen Ward did. But some of the drawings on the wall that Payne takes down, she drew during the pilot, so. Yeah, so Nathan just calls to say that he's sorry and everything. And, she's saying Payne's not here just for laying music.
Oh, did you this guy's on my team now? Mm-hmm. Like, Nathan.
Yeah, but, he says he knows that he shouldn't take it out on her. Payne turns off the webcam.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But how did you when she told him it's okay? But then on her drawing it said it's not okay.
Right.
I do wish she would say something to him.
Yeah.
And stop being so scared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just keep going in a toxic pattern where he messes up, he says he's sorry, and she forgives him over and over again.
I do feel like she's worried about what would happen if they broke up for good. Like if she finally told him off.
Yeah.
Because she would lose that place in that town.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now she's his girlfriend.
Yeah,
and he's the most popular person in town. So, she would lose that. Because again, people are scared of Nathan, clearly, and Dan.
Yeah.
So they would side with them over Peyton.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's a little worried of what would happen.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think too, just because she doesn't have many people in her life, so she doesn't want to like lose anybody. Because if she loses Nathan, she only has Brooke. So.
Well, that's the thing is we don't, her parents aren't mentioned, so it's like she clearly doesn't have anyone around. So if she had lost Nathan or told him the truth, it's like who would she have then? Left.
Yeah.
So.
And then when we see the school, we see a gigantic rock painted blue with the number 23 for Nathan, which I think is a bit extreme for a basketball player. Because usually you would see something like that to like honor the person if they passed away or something. But like since he's a star, he has to have that big rock right there in the front of the school with the his number on it. I just thought that was too much.
Apparently, this town loves Nathan and basketball.
Yeah. And just the Scots in general. I wouldn't be surprised if that was Dan's idea,
Oh, I'm sure it was. He probably paid for it.
Yeah. And then Peyton and Lucas and Nathan are in class. The teacher, tells Peyton to describe Lucas in one word. He says choke. And then when Lucas, has his turn, he says that Peyton.
So why did she say choke?
I don't know. I guess she's trying to like make it look like she doesn't like him. She's like giving mixed signals. I think she's like, she knows she's kind of liking him, but she doesn't want to. Maybe something like that. So she's trying to like,
But I'm like, that word, choke, what does that even like mean regarding Lucas?
Like, I think because like he choked at the game, probably. But and then of course Nathan has to say his word.
Okay, when he raises his hand, I'm like, Nathan.
Yeah.
Because you were not called on.
Yeah.
And then, because Lucas has to describe Peyton, and he said lonely. And then Nathan raises his hand, and then Nathan goes, one word to describe Lucas, bastard.
Mm-hmm. So of course Lucas gets up and attacks Nathan, knocking him to the ground, and begins to punch him.
Oh my god! And can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
What did I always miss on Dawson's Creek?
The violence.
Thank you. I was like, a fight I can actually watch. It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen it, Cynthia. It was so entertaining.
Yeah.
If they would have just used the words and stopped, because that's what Dawson's Creek would have done.
Yeah.
It would not have been as entertaining as Lucas getting up to go fight him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was so good.
Yeah.
And I do wonder, because like Chad being on Dawson's Creek, he didn't get to do violence, and fight.
Yeah.
So, because remember, we never got to saw him and Pacey fight. And so, on here he gets to fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if he liked it.
Yeah. And then Whitey has to yell at Lucas for beating Nathan.
Why? When Nathan started it with his words.
Mm-hmm. I guess
because again, the teacher did not call on him.
Right.
It would have been different if the teacher then said, Nathan, describe Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't. Nathan just volunteered it.
Mm-hmm.
So Nathan started it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the word he used, really?
Right.
And Lucas did not choose that.
Right. I guess Whitey just, doesn't like his teammates beating each other because it looks, bad.
Yeah, well, he should have maybe pulled Nathan in too.
Yeah. Lucas is, wanting to quit now after the game. Whitey says, you're running away. Lucas says he didn't run away, and that's why he's in the office in the first place. And then, of course, in the locker room, Tim's asking Nathan about what happened, and Nathan's Make it seem like he's the one that, hit Lucas first and
Oh my
on the
God.
ground.
Cynthia.
Yeah.
I love this scene because of Jake.
Yeah.
Jake just out of nowhere just started speaking, and he was like, yeah, like, I don't think that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then,
True.
what did you hear? And it's like, well, I heard he was on top of you and attacked you. And it was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what I saw. I saw Lucas on top of Nathan.
Yeah.
But it was so funny because Nathan's just trying to spread it around like, I got to him.
Yeah.
And it's like, you did not. You were at the bottom.
Yeah.
And Lucas, it was just, and it was also like, also this is why I love Jake. He's just not afraid of Nathan.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, you're the most popular guy in this town, whatever, but I'm going to call it like I see it. And I'm like, I just love that. I don't think he's really trying to be in favor of anyone. He's just telling the truth. And, it's not like he's trying to side with Lucas. He just is like, that's not what I heard. And I love it. Don't you love that he wasn't afraid of Nathan? Yeah. It was so cute. Well, someone needed to say something because he's just trying to spin this around.
Yeah. And then Whitey walks in and, asks the team if they're putting on makeup because they're taking so long.
Oh, then he brings up Jake. And was it a skirt or a dress? I'm like...
Yeah, to match the skirt, They can go in the gym afterward, after they're done doing that. And then, Nathan's threatening Lucas, like this is just a start. And then, on the roof of the cafe, Haley asks if there's any side effects from his amnesia because he didn't mention about the fight he got into today. And, Lucas is saying he just wants things to go back to the way they were before, with everything. And then,
by the way, it couldn't have been that good of like a fight. Nobody was bruised.
Right.
Like that teacher came in real fast to break it up.
And then, the girls said on the podcast that, Sophia and Hillary both, and Hillary had a crush on Brian, aka Jake, when they were filming and they were sad to see him go for the other show, October Road, I believe it was called, that he went to. But yeah, and then at Peyton's house, Brooke says it's too bad Lucas is poor and he can't play.
I have a question.
Because he's fine, yeah.
Are you a Jake fan?
Yeah.
Jake and Peyton fan?
Yeah.
Did you want that endgame?
Yeah. Why? Because you like Lucas and Peyton?
Why would you want those two?
They just seem to work well together. Like, there weren't, there's like no games like it was with Lucas and Peyton.
I know, but the thing is, when I watch Jake and Peyton on screen, I want to fall asleep.
No.
And when I watch Lucas and Peyton, I just am invested. And that's what I want to watch. I don't want to watch two people being boring on screen. I've watched that. It's called Dawson and Joey.
I thought they were sweet,
Okay, but I don't need to see that sweetness on TV. I'm watching a TV show. I want to see something. What?
I'm just looking at my notes.
I also didn't really feel like there was that much of a connection. That's why I really wasn't a Jake and Peyton fan.
Yeah, because Hillary was told in season 2 that Peyton and Jake were at game, and Sophia was told that it was Peyton and Lucas, and Hillary repeats that she was told that Haley and Nathan were together. Yeah, so the girls were just kept being told different things with different pairings. So who knows? Maybe they would have been endgame if Brian didn't leave the show.
Yeah, but from the start, it's Peyton and Lucas. So, I just don't like her in this episode. Saying, like, I like when she's going against Nathan, like basically picking his side. But when she's talking to Lucas, it's different. I don't like it. She's doing that like hot and cold thing.
And then, Brooke is saying like she likes when Nathan and Peyton fight because she gets to hear new music.
Did you also hear what she said?
About Gwen Stefani?
No, she said, Lucas is poor and can't play.
Yeah, that's what I said before, yeah. But he's fine, yeah.
But I know, but it's like, oh, can't go after him because he's poor.
Right, yeah, because...
And I'm just like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, she's judgy like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Brooke says that she knows that Payne's like Gwen Stefani, who's a badass, and Dan said Gwen Stefani's not. So I don't know. I don't really know that much about Gwen Stefani. Do you think she's a badass?
Wasn't my generation.
I mean, we did have her one song, Holla Back Girl, yeah, so, but that was basically it. And then, the song she had with her band, No Doubt, but I barely remember the songs until I hear them again. And then, Peyton kind of gets deep and asks Brooke if she can ever look past high school and basketball and the whole popularity drama.
Yeah, and that she's just going to basically marry a rich guy unless she gets fat.
Yeah, I know. So she has very,
judgy.
Yeah, standards of who she should, how she looks and how she should present herself.
And who she's going to marry.
Yeah.
And what he looks like or has money.
Mm-hmm. And then Keith and Lucas are talking about the game. Keith's like, even Jordan played lousy in his first pro game and all that. And Lucas just is like doubting if he would fit into their world, and maybe he never will. And then, Keith asks, Lucas has talked about it with Karen, and he says he hasn't.
What did you think when Keith said about her car? Prettier the girl, messier the car.
Yeah, no, I never heard that.
I don't know if it's really true.
Right, yeah.
I feel like you can be pretty and have a clean house or a clean car.
Yeah. And then Lucas finds Payne's sketchbook from Dun magazine. I was kind of surprised that she left the sketchbook in the car. Like, she wouldn't have taken it with her before getting it dropped off at the garage, Especially how she draws all the time. Because I have sketchbooks that I don't use anymore, but I would still, keep them, with me at all times. Because it can be personal with your artwork being seen like that without, giving your permission. Because that's what Lucas did. So sure enough, Payne walks up behind him and yells at him about looking at it.
Well, yeah, because I would clean out my car no matter what.
Yeah.
I would take out everything.
Yeah.
If you're taking it to the shop, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So, yeah, you just don't want. It's not like you're driving someone home. It's someone else. It's going to be in someone else's hands.
Yeah.
I would take every personal money, whatever.
Yeah, because I always worry about they're going to take my CDs or something. So, yeah.
Well, anything valuable, whatever you got in your car.
Yeah. Because Payne gets mad. And she's like, it's not like I looked at your diary. Because it's like, I don't have a diary. And she's like,
Dear diary.
Yeah. But it just reminded me too of Dawson's Creek when Dawson, read Joey's diary.
Are you trying to compare Dawson and Lucas?
Just in this one moment, And then Dan comes home to where Nathan's outside working out, and he's talking about the fight. And he tells him, if you get into a fight, it should be about something important, not about a girl.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. How did you like when Dan said, "Did you win?"
Right. Yeah, I know, because that's all he cares about.
Not the fact that your kid was in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing you can say.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Well, did you get hurt?"
Mm-hmm.
And Nathan goes, "No, did you?"
Right.
And he's like, "Huh?" And Nathan's like, "Those punches weren't thrown at me."
Yeah.
Or they weren't for me. And I was like,
But I did agree with Dan that one part when he said,
wait, you agree with Dan on something?
Yeah, it's just because that's what Hillary said too. She couldn't believe this, but about getting into a fight about over something that's important, not a girl. So yeah, I agree about that. And then
well, I'm sorry. Last episode when Nathan just has something has something to say back to Dan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like you can't believe he's saying it to Dan.
Right.
Remember, because I was like, that was like the best line he had last episode. Well, then this one. Well, did you get hurt? I was like, oh my God, Nathan, this is the thing. There's like times with like Peyton and Lucas where you're like, oh my God, really, Nathan? But then with Dan, you're just like, way to go, Nathan. I love you.
Yeah.
Because again, someone is standing up to Dan.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
And plus, given that it's his own kid standing up to him, is actually funny.
Yeah, it makes it better, yeah. And that Karen's cafe, Karen acts about the fight to Lucas and all that, and that was funny how Haley acts like the phone's ringing to get it so she can leave them to be. And then, Lucas said Nathan had it coming, and Karen doesn't know what Nathan said, but Karen says when they called her, she was sure that they had the wrong Scott at first.
And then they said you can pick which one?
Yeah. Lucas is saying she was being a jerk, and Karen's like, how does that even surprise you? He's always been a jerk, you know that. So you don't need to go down to his level.
Also, I didn't agree when Dan said, well, it had to have been important or something, or they wouldn't have called me. And I'm like, any little fight your kid has, they are going to call you, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? That's what I didn't agree with, was they're going to call you.
Yeah.
Especially your kid, who seems to get in trouble. Last episode, it was the bus. Yeah. This episode, it's a fight.
Yeah.
What's next episode?
Yeah, so Karen asks, this has something to do with the way Lucas played poorly at the game, and Lucas came back with, how would you know you weren't even there? So.
Oh my God, I loved it.
Yeah.
Now, normally I don't really care for kids talking back to their parent, but this case,
yeah, he had a point.
She is always about herself. She's a little like Dan, always about herself. Yeah. And I'm tired of it. It's already episode 2 and I'm tired of it. And Lucas had every right to say that because, again, he should not hide his feelings given that she doesn't put him first. Like, if she was always putting him first, then, yeah, sometimes you can just hold your feelings. But she's always being selfish now. So I feel he had every right to say that. And plus, it was true. Like, some point, she needs to hear the truth. Yeah. Especially from the person she's hurting the most. And because Keith can say it and it'll just brush right off her back. Right. But it needed to come from Lucas, and I was happy that it did. Because Keith tried. Right. It didn't work. Yeah. And then he goes, oh, but I didn't like it. Because he said sorry. Yeah. I didn't like it. I'm like, Lucas, you are valid. You deserve to tell her the truth. Right. Yeah. And she needs to hear it. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm on Lucas's side. Yeah, me too. Because, I feel like if I had a kid and my kid said that, I'd be like, crap. Like, I was wrong. Right. Yeah. But I don't feel like Karen's feeling like that, It's kind of like, what did you say to me? It's like, ugh. Yeah. Oh, what did you think when Dan said, Whitey's just using him to get back at me?
Yeah, I was tired of hearing that over and over again.
But I don't agree.
Yeah.
When Keith said to Whitey last episode that Lucas is good, you should watch him. He wasn't doing it out of spite of Dan. Right. Because he didn't really even want to go. But he finally did. But again, it wasn't, oh, I got to do this because it'll make Dan mad. It was, I should go and watch this kid. And that's what he did. So yeah, I just didn't agree with that at all. I didn't really know why he said it. But again, it's always about him.
Right. And then Lucas saw Peyton across the street about to walk into that magazine, but then changes her mind and throws her sketchbook in the trash can.
And then what does he do?
Gets it.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was like, Lucas, at some point, you have to let her make her own choice. Yeah. Especially when she just yelled at you about the drawing, and then in the same episode, you go and pick it up.
Yeah, keeps interfering with
It's
her.
like he didn't listen to a word she said.
Yeah. And then later back at his house, Lucas sits with his mom, says that he's sorry for being a jackass.
Again, apologizes.
Mm-hmm. And then she explains why she couldn't be there. She says, the idea of walking to that gym, that's where Dan told her that he's going away to college without her.
So?
I know.
So?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he picked basketball over Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Again.
We know this.
Obviously, you can see it.
Yeah.
We don't even have to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell he's into basketball.
Yeah.
And that's his whole world. And, look how he's treating Whitey all the time. So I just didn't like it because I'm like, and I'm sure Lucas knows that.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
So why did you have to say it?
Mm-hmm.
And again, she's making it about herself.
Mm-hmm.
Again. Don't you see a similarity between her and Dan?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
They're very selfish and about themselves.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what made their, relationship work until she got pregnant, at least.
Or it was toxic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Peyton and Nathan.
Yeah, but I don't think Peyton puts herself first and is selfish.
Yeah, I'm saying it's just a bad relationship overall.
Because she's just go with whatever he says.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just...
Which must be what Dan's wife does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Lucas ends up saying he's sorry that she had to live through that, and they hug. And then Dan and Nathan are jogging, talking about the game, and Dan apparently stood up to Whitey when he was at the state championship, and proved to Whitey that it was his game, not his. So he ended up staying out of the game, and they lost the game because he wasn't playing. So
okay, that's funny. What I just had eye rolls with Dan.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said. I was just trying to stand up to Whitey, and they lost the game, and he said, and I felt bad for the other guys, and I was like, Dan, no, I know you did not feel sorry for those other guys.
Right.
You felt sorry for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, quit trying to act like you were sorry for the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you buy that at all?
No.
Oh my god. This is what I mean with Dan. A lot of it is just like eye rolls. Mm-hmm. The stuff that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah. And the next day, Jake and Lucas are in the library. Jake tells Lucas tough games happen. And then he ends up giving him a book. Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. I'm probably not saying that right. It is a real book. And I think he, Lucas quotes at the end. But Jake did tell Lucas that, everybody's scared of Nathan, especially because they're all like the younger guys, because the older guys are the ones that were suspended originally in the game this season. But, Jake isn't playing into that nonsense, so Jake's not scared of him. But he says that Nathan is scared of Lucas.
So I want to know how Jake got away with not having anything to do with Nathan.
It just seems like he
I know,
to himself.
I know, but it seems like Nathan would, and his friends would destroy Jake by not siding with Nathan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of crowd, whatever Nathan seems to have. I don't know. I just feel like he would do Jake dirty and not leave him alone. Because he's in charge. And if anyone goes against him, I just feel like he would destroy them. And the fact that he just leaves Jake alone, I'm like, this makes no sense. And especially given that now Jake is on Lucas's side, it makes no sense.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. There's something missing there.
Yeah, did Jake bully him in preschool? I'm just wondering how Jake like of all people, I don't know. You know, I would love to know that,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think, Cynthia,
Mm.
in the whole show we ever got an answer of how come Jake gets left alone.
Right.
Do you remember? If
No, well, I have a theory, but I don't know.
Hmm.
I'll mention it later when we get to it. And then they have an assignment in class to write one word to describe what they want most in their life. And then on the room report, Nathan is messing with Lucas as he's shooting hoops, and he tells Lucas,
Oh, what was the question or for the assignment?
write one word to describe what they want in their life.
Oh.
Yeah, so Nathan's on the room report messing with Lucas, and Lucas says he doesn't have anything to prove to him. You know,
Nathan.
So bad because he's looking forward to taking him down. And then, he says that they both know Lucas won't be at the practice by humiliating himself.
Oh my God, but when Lucas throws the ball, right? Nathan goes, "You missed again."
Yeah. I did get the card though, it like bounced underneath the front of it, but
but I don't even know if he was aiming at Nathan.
It seemed like he did, but like maybe it seemed like he kind of like backed out the last second, so that's why I didn't hit him because he didn't get enough power because like he kind of gave up the last second.
Yeah, because it kind of seemed like he was somewhat also just trying to scare him by aiming at the car.
Yeah.
So when he said, "Oh, you missed," I'm like, how do you know he was even aiming at you? You don't.
Yeah, but it reminded me of Dawson hitting Pacey with basketball too, but Dawson actually hit him, so.
See, he actually did physical violence, Cynthia.
Yeah. And then, of course, at practice, Whitey calls for Lucas, but he's not there. He's actually at Keith's garage where, he is paying back her keys and her sketchbook. And then she's like, "Are you stalking me?" You know? Yeah. You're raising your hand.
Just a little thing.
Yeah.
So Lucas isn't at practice, clearly.
Yeah.
I thought cheer is at the same time as basketball. Remember when he joined? Remember Peyton was in the gym practicing?
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't she at cheer practice?
I don't know, maybe the same reason she doesn't want to be there.
I was like, I was like, wait a minute. I was so confused. I was like, because she said, "Oh, what? No practice today?" And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Cheer practices, I thought, was at the same time as basketball practice. Because
Mm-hmm.
you guys, when he walked in the gym last episode, you girls were in the gym. So it threw me off because I'm like, I think that's a little issue that the writers didn't forget about.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Which makes sense because it would probably be after school when practice is.
Right.
But I don't agree that cheer would be in the gym practicing. Do you?
Right, yeah, I don't know.
Well, for us, I think they practiced in the cafeteria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, think about when they're practicing for basketball, they're using the whole gym. Mm-hmm. So if the girls are practicing cheer, they have half of it?
I don't know, maybe.
But then how is that good for basketball practice?
Yeah.
Especially if basketball is the town's whole world. Mm-hmm. They would want them to have the full court to practice. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make any sense that the girls would be practicing in the gym. Mm-hmm. Also, it would be distracting for the boys. Right. Which is why I think in schools they practice anywhere but the gym. Mm-hmm. Just the little things I found, here's the thing. If I have to do it for one show, mm-hmm. I have to do them for all. Yeah. So I'm just picking out some things.
Yeah. And then, Lucas and Payne get into the argument, like, Payne says it's none of his business about her sketchbook, and Lucas says she's right, but, someone should actually see them, and Payne just walks away. Lucas asks for her to tell him why she should submit them. Her stuff's good, and Payne says not good enough. Then she explains why she wants to draw, to make someone believe and hope again and everything. But she leaves her sketchbook behind because it doesn't mean anything to anybody anyway. And then Dan walks into Whitey's office And he says, at first, Whitey says that he says people who should value their lives knock first, but then when he sees this Dan, he said, "Oh, that explains it."
Then Dan brings up Karen's son,
Mm-hmm.
and then Whitey said, "Karen's son, that's a convenient way of putting it."
Yeah.
I told you, Whitey is just so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then he tells him Lucas took himself off the team, and if that makes Dan happy, seeing the kid he left and abandoned, Dan just laughs and tells Whitey to move Nathan back to shooting guard, and he might finally win the state championship. And then Whitey says that Dan's destroying kids left and right, and Dan comes back, but that Whitey has made a career out of it.
I don't think Whitey destroys kids.
Yeah, me neither. And then we see the teacher go through the students' cars to see truth on a card, and then Tina gets home and takes her art off the bedroom wall. So she wants truth.
Yeah, but that didn't look like her handwriting.
Oh, I didn't.
If you look at the "it's not okay,"
mm-hmm.
and then that,
right,
I was like, that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
I thought it was like Nathan's or something. I didn't, because I'm like, that handwriting didn't look like
girls.
Well, that, and it didn't look like the "it's okay" one.
Yeah, no.
Because we just saw it in the same episode.
Yeah, maybe she can just write her text differently because some people can do that.
Or maybe somebody else wrote it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they probably did for the show wise.
What does she want truth?
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't understand that one. Truth from what?
Yeah.
Or who?
Maybe truth that her art's good. I don't know. And the teacher,
well, she needs confidence.
Yeah, the teacher finds out a card that says revenge.
Oh my god! And we knew who that was.
Yeah, Nathan.
Now he wants revenge on Lucas.
Yeah, I guess.
Or his dad.
Maybe both. Yeah.
Because he's somewhat going against his dad.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like the stuff he says. So it's kind of like, do you want revenge from your dad too?
Mm-hmm. And then the card says answers with Lucas. So I don't know, answers maybe about why Dan abandoned him, maybe.
Yeah, answers on his life, maybe.
Yeah.
So, can I just say something? Okay. One thing that I also had an issue with Dawson's Creek
mm-hmm.
was if they did a school project like that one with Drew, Joey, and Dawson,
mm-hmm.
we never got to see it.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah.
I liked here where we got to see basically the final product. Because again, even on other shows, they don't show you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when they did that life project. Mm-hmm. We didn't actually get to see what they came up with.
Right.
We only got to see them working on it. Mm-hmm. And so here we got to actually see the answers of them, which was actually nice on a TV show to see.
Yeah.
Because it could have been a mystery. They could have left it at just write down answers and just left that and not showed us the answers or showed us their answers. So I was happy to see that.
Yeah. And then we see Lucas alone in the river court until Whitey shows up and they were convincing him to get back.
Did you see Lucas's face?
When?
Kind of like rolled his eyes. And it was like, because Whitey shows up. Because Whitey's just not giving it a rest. And it's funny.
Yeah. So he just tells Lucas to think about it because they're all afraid. But he says that he needs to figure out what he's most afraid of because when he puts a face on it, he can beat it. So I think that face might be Dan and Nathan, but mostly Dan. And then Nathan is at Payne's house.
Why is he painting her toes?
I don't know. I mean, I guess that like some girlfriends get their boyfriends to do that for them.
Okay, but Nathan?
Right.
This is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I cannot picture it. I mean, I'm saying it, but it's like, when you think about it, he barely even likes Peyton. Mm-hmm. Why would he be painting her toes?
Exactly, yeah, and then he makes fun of them, yeah.
I don't get it. I'm like, I don't feel like that type of guy would paint her toes.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but when he said that, her toes are practically fingers.
And then she said, they use the middle one.
Yeah, like that one. that part. And then, Nathan's like, oh, I think I'm thinking about quitting the team and getting us into it. So it's like, yeah, I'll quit Shirley and we can do it together and walk away. And then he says, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, he's like kind of like laughing as a joke.
Yeah, so I didn't like that. Like he gave her actual hope.
Yeah, but she gave Lucas hope by inviting him in.
Yeah, so she kind of got that karma back.
Yeah, she got that little revenge back. There you go.
And then, Haley is mainly like an innocent character in the show. So now looking back at this scene about the porn name was really random for her. And she said, I don't know where she'd get it from, but she says it's the name of your first pet and your mom's main name. But I also heard that it was the name of the street you first lived on too, so I don't know. There's different versions of it. And then you're gonna have to bleep me out for this because I'm just quoting Joy. But she was told that this show was about after Hillary said that she handled the naughty talk really well. So, and then they said that their porn names are Bunny Brigard and Lucas is Rocket Row because apparently he had a dog named Rocket and she had a bunny named Bunny, which is funny. And then Haley says Dawson's Freak starring Rocket Row and Bunny.
Yeah. What did you think of the Dawson's Freak? I'm like, someone's obsessed with Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, and then where is it? Yeah, Hillary brought up that part, Dawson's Creek. She said that all three girls said they thought Haley and Lucas would end up together, and Joy says that the writers were originally going for her and Chad, but they had no chemistry.
That's what they should have done on Dawson's Creek. Went up after chemistry.
Right.
Because James and Katie had none.
Mm-hmm. And then randomly too, Sophia brought up the fact that she was bitten by an actor during a kiss scene, and she pushed him afterwards, but she didn't say his name or even think that the tape was used for the show. Do you have any theories of who the actor could be?
What episode was he in?
That's the shit. She didn't say who it was at all. It's in the show. There was a guy that bit her lip.
And they didn't use it?
She said she didn't think so, no. Because she pushed him afterward.
But
yeah. And then Sophia said Brooke ended up becoming more like her because the writers were tired of fighting over what who Brooke was and what she did. And then Mark said, Joy said that Mark heard her singing to herself in the parking lot, and that's how she started singing on the show. They're just bringing up random facts that are kind of ahead of the show, but yeah.
So Lucas says that he was afraid of being Dan.
Right.
In the gym.
Mm-hmm.
That was news to me.
Yeah.
Because he said that Dan had a little piece of him.
Right.
And I was like, oh, all right.
Right, I guess like following his footsteps, maybe.
Yeah, but if he watches Dan's behavior, he's not Dan.
Yeah.
He's far from it.
Yeah, so Haley knows him and she says no matter what happens, he's gonna be the same guy he's always been.
Yeah, but I was just shocked because I didn't remember this because what stuck was when he said in the first episode, I didn't want my mom to have to be around him and stuff, but it's like, but the truth is, he didn't want to be like Dan.
Right.
Or become him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, because I didn't remember that through the show. Did you?
Not really, no.
Because what always stuck with me was he was protecting his mom, but he was also protecting himself.
Yeah, but he didn't get that feeling when he was in the court.
Well, no, because Dan only played it in front of people.
Yeah.
So that's where he would feel more like himself.
Yeah, and Karen says that didn't see enough from them. And then Lucas sheds a tear while looking at a drawing of Peyton's artwork of the crowd.
Oh my God. When he shed a tear, I was like, oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, because...
Can I just say, too, I love Chad playing Lucas.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
When you think, it's hard to picture anyone else playing Lucas. Except Chad.
Right.
Like, he's it. I didn't like him playing the bad boy and stuff. Like, remember, I would always, like, laugh at it. So, and so here, I'm just like, I love it.
Yeah, because apparently Peyton had made an art drawn of proud of men in suits that were very similar to each other, and then Lucas is kind of in the middle, faceless in his ratted shirt, and the words read, "They are not you." So like even she can see that Lucas doesn't want to be like the rest of the guys on the team somehow. And then Lucas gives the owner of that magazine Payne's artwork before he leaves. Then Haley watches Lucas run down the street from Karen's cafe. And then Nathan gets home where Dan tells him it's time to focus, don't think about anything else. But Nathan's barely listening. And it's kind of
I liked how it was, like, the sound was in the background.
Right.
Like, we could tell he was trying to ignore his dad.
And then when Lucas was crying, it was funny because Hillary brought it up and said that she's not used to seeing boys cry in teen shows because she only, was the only one she really saw was Dawson crying with that meme. That's all she knew about a guy crying in a show. That was funny. That was the only reference she had for crying.
But Nathan, when Dan says, like, to Nathan, like, kind of like focus and stuff, it's like the only pressure he has is you. It's like, because, he's like, oh, kind of like, don't listen and blah, blah. It's like, then he shouldn't be listening to you because you're the only person putting pressure in him.
Right.
Like, you're the loudest voice in him.
Yeah, and then Payne does end up showing up for the game late. And then Dan runs into Lucas in the hall and calls him son again.
No, Cynthia.
Yeah.
I have an issue. Another one. Why did he say that?
Just to mess with him again.
Because, again, Nathan and Lucas look nothing alike from behind. They don't have the same haircut. They don't have the same hair color. They don't dress alike. It's like they're opposites. It just, because he's like, no, like the look. I'm like, Dan, but I love that Jake was there.
Yeah.
Because Jake just, like, takes the bag and, like, tells him, like, kind of ignore him.
Yeah, because Dan did that just, to rub it in Lucas's face, like, give this, give it.
Well, then he said, give it to my son.
Yeah.
Or he said, give this to my boy, and I'm like...
Yeah, so,
But you know what, though?
What?
I really wish Lucas would have just been like, didn't even take it and just walked away. Or took it and threw it back at him and just wandered away. You know what I mean? Like, give this to your own kid. Bye.
Yeah.
I just wish he had a little more confidence.
Yeah, and then Jake, brings up, don't let him take it from Larry. So he meant that it was his talent. Like, don't let Dan take his talent and everything he's worked for. And then, Lucas narrates about not letting your fire go out, and he's holding his jersey in the locker room and looking at it.
Well, and did you see what song was playing?
That Believe song?
Believe by Gavin DeGraw. I like the song.
Yeah. And then we finally see Karen walk into the gym.
Thank God.
Dan sees her, she sees him, but then Keith calls her to sit with him. And then we see Brooke and Payne on sidelines. And then the magazine guy does end up looks at her drawings, and the team goes out into the court. And then
Lucas said, your art matters. It's what got me here.
Yeah. So she finally got what she wanted with her art. And then Whitey tells Lucas he's going to be okay. He agrees and looks at Dan. He turns
he turns around and he took Scott off.
Yeah, of the jersey, so now just blank. But I kind of wish he I'm kind of surprised that they never just had Lucas take his mom's name I mean, I know that it's like a old tradition of this kid taking the dad's name, but like sometimes, the dad doesn't deserve to have his last name passed down in this case. So I'm surprised that Lewis just didn't take his mom's name and put Roe on the jersey after Rick Scott off. Like write Roe on the back in placement of Scott.
Well, my thing is like, I get like for the show, they have to have the same last name, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in reality,
Mm-hmm.
if someone did that to you,
Yeah.
what Karen went through,
Mm-hmm.
you definitely would not put his last name on your child's name.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
I don't care if Keith is your friend or not.
Mm-hmm.
No, you just wouldn't. Because he doesn't deserve it.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, there are people that have 50-50 custody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the girl's name.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just as part of their kid as the mom is, but she put her last name.
Mm-hmm.
And yet Dan, who was never part of Lucas's life, wasn't really there for the pregnancy or anything. It's like, that's the name you used?
Right.
It's hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I can't see in a world where it makes sense.
Yeah, neither.
And you know how you said like maybe she was like disowned by her family and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Then at that point you would do what you want, which is give your kid your name because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what also bothered me was why?
Yeah.
Why would you give him that power of having the last name?
I know, exactly, yeah.
Because then Karen could be like, no, you are not like, you're a Roe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like Dan could, or Lucas could say that to Dan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a Scott.
Right.
It's not my last name.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like that would be, I think that would have been the best dig at Dan.
Yeah.
When your kid is born, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
It's not your last name.
Right.
It's mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that kid grows up and people in town find out that he does not have your last name,
Mm-hmm.
it only makes you look worse.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been the biggest dig.
Yeah.
And that's what she should have done.
Yeah.
So, yes, Lucas should have put her last name, but also it should have been done when he was born.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do think you still could have had a show with him having her last name.
Yeah.
Because they're still half brothers. He's still Dan's son.
Yeah, blood, yeah.
So it still could have been done.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
But it would have made more sense
Mm-hmm.
for this to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it because like Scott is a tougher or more known name than Roe? I don't know why.
Maybe, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
Scott versus Roe.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Karen thought if Lucas had the Scott name, it would take him further in life. I don't know. That's what I can think of.
But again, if she's this, I don't think she thinks about his future because she's so into herself
Mm-hmm.
that I would think that she would be like, no, he's going to have my last name.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just bothers me that he doesn't have her last name.
Right.
I could see where in the future,
Mm-hmm.
if he ever wanted to change it to Scott,
Right.
they could have wrote it that way.
Yeah.
Where he's all of a sudden he's old enough, he is really close to Keith after all these years. Like
Mm-hmm.
Keith proved that he deserves the last name Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Then he changes it.
Yeah.
And then it could be the Scott brothers,
Mm-hmm.
quote.
Yeah.
But because it didn't work out that way, it wasn't written that way. I'm just saying they could have played with it better than that.
Yeah.
And again, if her family disowned her,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been like, who cares what I do with my son's name
Mm-hmm.
to you?
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I have to follow
Mm-hmm.
in that. I mean, Gilmore Girls, she gave Rory her last name.
Yeah. Not Christopher's, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
That's the
so
thing is,
Karen's,
even Lorelai did that.
Karen's Lorelai. Yeah, Lorelai she was even a little bit younger than Karen. And
She was
yeah.
16.
Yeah.
Karen was like 18.
Yeah, so, she did what she had to do, to get by and just made the right decisions for her daughter, you know?
And put her daughter first.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. It could have been done.
Yeah, the only thing, you know, Lorelai did wrong was just kind of leaving her parents like that, but besides that, she did well for herself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I think she left them so she could try to see what she could do.
Yeah.
On her own.
Yeah.
Without handouts.
Yeah, without the money yet.
And her mom.
But she's controlling, yeah.
But I'm just saying that Karen should have done this.
Right, yeah. So I don't know.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because it was men in the writer's room?
Maybe. Yeah.
And they said, he should have the last name Scott.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like women in the writer's room would have been like, they would have had this talk of, it should have been Roe. Because we would have agreed. You know, I just feel like women would have agreed that it should have been her last name, especially given who Dan is.
Right.
Did they ever talk about? I don't think they ever talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't
of
know.
Why he was never a Roe.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I stopped listening to season 2. So I don't know if they bring it up later on.
Yeah, but they should run up in season 1 then.
Right. Yeah.
Because it is a mystery. And again, you can still have the same conflicts.
Right.
With just a different last name. And again, it could have been a great storyline for him to realize this is the time where I can change it with my mom's permission, because he's still underage, to Scott.
Right.
And then it would be a conflict of Dan then would have been like, I don't want him to have my last name. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was actually one writer that was a woman besides for the creator.
Okay, but that's only one.
Yeah.
Who's she? She's going to go and talk to men who are going to say, no, he deserves to have Scott.
Right.
It's like...
Yeah, she's titled as executive story editor, so I guess maybe she kind of like looks over what the creator wrote and, you know, adds or, you know, removes what she thinks is best. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, what were your highs and lows?
So, my low was definitely Karen and not being supportive.
Yeah,
it drove me nuts. The high was, the fight was good, but for me, the high made me smile. It was when Lucas looked at Dan, turned his back, and didn't have the name Scott.
Yeah, me too.
That was my favorite moment. I was like, oh, I literally just smiled so big because I was like, way to go, Lucas. Love you. And in your face, Dan.
Yeah.
I love that.
Me too. Yeah, so those were mine as well. And then
that was your low too?
Yeah.
As in Karen?
Yeah, both of them, yeah. High and low. So then rating?
I'd rate this an 8. I thought it was also still good storytelling. I'm waiting to give my 10s.
Yeah, I give it a 7.
I have in mind which episodes I feel are going to be 10s, but right now it's still going, like they're still storytelling.
Yep, they're still building it.
Yep, they're still building what the show is going to be. We're just not there yet.
Yeah.
But then again, all of Dawson's Creek was never there. So we at least know this show is going to get somewhere.
Yeah.
So what did you say yours was?
7. And then best and worst characters?
Yeah, what's yours?
My best was Jake because, you know, he was looking out for Lucas, especially with the bag, and giving it to Nathan himself so Lucas didn't have to do that. And then the worst, of course, is Dan. You know, I feel like Dan's going to probably be like 99% of the worst on the show, but yeah, he's just trying to push Nathan, and Nathan's pushing Lucas, so it's just like a whole domino effect of, you know.
Well, Nathan's Dan's puppet.
What?
Nathan's Dan's puppet.
Yeah.
When he wants something done, he just tells Nathan to go do it.
Yeah. So what are yours?
Mine are different than yours.
Okay.
Both of them. For me, the best, I picked Whitey.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I feel like most coaches, if a player quit, they'd be like, okay, bye.
Right, yeah.
They'd be like, and I'm off duty. I'm not going to go and chase you down to the river court where Whitey did, and he just didn't give up on Lucas. And I love that because, again, I feel like Lucas does need that.
Right.
So for me, he was the best. And also, I love when he goes at Dan. It's so good. Because, again, most people don't. Most people are afraid of him.
Right.
And then for me, the worst is Karen. Because Dan, by now, in episode 2, you can tell what he is.
Right.
But for me, I just felt like Karen, she's supposed to be the good parent, right? On the show?
Yeah.
She's not building to be the good parent in this episode.
Yeah, because
she's a lot like Dan in this episode.
Yeah, so far we only see parents Dan and Karen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But we only see the good adult, well, 2 good adults being Whitey and Keith.
Right. Yeah.
But I just feel like she's being a lot of Dan, and I don't like it. And I didn't like how she was treating Lucas. Right. Go to your Dan. Okay, as much as we all hate Dan, he's at least going to Nathan's games.
Right.
And Karen isn't.
Yeah.
So it bothered me. So she was the worst. And then what's the next episode?
Episode 3, Are You True?
All right. Thanks for listening.
Yep, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would appreciate it.